you ever thought that we live in a confusing world? A world where what's going on, why things are happening, what it all means, and how we can get involved isn't quite clear? Well, we live in a changing world, and these days it can often be difficult to keep up. A number of words highlighted by a range of different dictionaries over the last 20 years tell a story. In 2005, Sudoku. In 2008, credit crunch. In 2015, crying laughing face emoji. In 2018, justice. 2020, pandemic. 2022, permacrisis. And in 2024, brain rot and demure. The story? Well, it's been quite easy to see change happening in the world, and sometimes it's been possible to see the world as somewhat bleak, and at other times downright baffling. So this context is shaping all of our lives. So how today, in a world where there's a myriad of different challenges and opportunities, can we share our ideas and, importantly, drive a positive impact? Well, that's what I'm going to be considering today. And while I can't tell you how to speak in emoji or to create a viral dance, I will be reflecting on some of my own experiences and those working with a range of change makers and communicators. And I'll be doing so by focusing on 3 key factors that can help unlock not just our ideas, but a greater positive impact in changing times. And the first of those factors I want to focus on is all about recognizing the importance of change. Now, change is something that can quite often feel uneasy to us. It gives us the butterflies a lot of the time. And when we're going through it, change might not feel particularly welcome. It might feel difficult. But if we're wanting to create any impact, the likelihood is we're probably going to need to change something. But also we need to recognize that our lives are increasingly defined by change. So really being able to embrace that change is really important. And the best change makers, whether they be individuals, organizations, charities, social enterprise, whoever it is, whatever impact you're trying to drive, often the best change makers are the ones that can respond to that change. Respond when it might seem difficult, but also look out for opportunities, thinking about what's around the corner and being able to react to that. Now, the second factor I want to focus on is resilience. Now, resilience is something that can help make those challenging times more easy, get through those challenges that little bit easier. But resilience isn't something that we can just turn on or off. It's something that we have to develop and build all the time, building that strength, that internal confidence to keep going when times are tough. And as a social entrepreneur, at work and in life in general, resilience is something I've very much had to develop, and it's something I know I need to develop a lot more too. And resilience, whatever impact we're trying to drive, can be really key to helping us achieve that impact. So an example from me, well, in 2018, I co-founded a non-profit youth-led media education company designed with a mission to inspire the next generation in politics. Now, whether we like it or not, and whether we realize it or not, politics impacts all of us every single day. So I'm very much a believer that we should be helping everyone understand how politics works, how it impacts them, and how they can get involved. And I think that's particularly the case for young people, because young people are the leaders of tomorrow, but also on many topics, the people that are driving those conversations for change today. So we started up this site, and for the first 6 months, we didn't really get anywhere fast. And it would have been really easy for us to look at it and say, yeah, not really working, let's stop there. And just become another one of those sites or blogs that starts up each year and within just a few weeks or months ceases to exist. But we didn't, we kept going. And over time, we grew our audiences across the UK, but also around the world. And we had more opportunities over time, opportunities to deliver more educational content to our audiences, to explain more confusing topics, and more opportunities as well to get answers for our young audiences direct from those in power. Now, this was a story of resilience in a couple of ways. First of all, in keeping going when we couldn't see that initial impact. As I say, it's really easy when you don't see that initial impact just to stop. But often when we're building our ideas and transforming them into that impact, it's often not a quick process. We have to keep going, keep focused, and really trust that process a bit sometimes. But also, it was a story of resilience in terms of explaining confusing topics. Now, politics, whether you've studied it for years or not, can quite often be a really confusing topic. And when you're explaining confusing topics to people, whether you're just trying to get them to understand something, or whether you're trying to win them on board to an argument, explaining those topics, explaining those ideas, quite often it can take several different attempts to get it right. And really, for me, explaining confusing topics has been something of a key focus for me over recent years, over a range of different areas, whether that be explaining politics and the pandemic, or whether it be previously working here in Lancashire, explaining the importance of outer space to local economies here in Lancashire or the national economy, or whether it be currently in my role where I'm focused on helping people and places make better informed decisions for greater positive impact through the use of data and other insights. So resilience can be really key in helping us deliver those ideas and transforming them to that impact. But also, it's important to recognise that resilience is something we've all had to develop much more over recent years, with the coronavirus pandemic fundamentally changing the way we live. But even outside of lockdowns, the number of challenges and pressures on people today, with everything that's going on in the world, but also with technological change changing how we all live, resilience often might feel like something that's required much more day to day, not just for when we're trying to deliver impact. And it's also true for many people around the world and at home that resilience is much more key day to day. Around 5 years ago, I sustained a brain injury. And while vastly recovered since then, it's had a lasting impact in a number of areas. And after that injury, I got some support from some local community groups, and after some time also went on to volunteer for some of those groups. And around 2 years after that injury, after I'd recovered a bit and speaking to other people that had had similar injuries, I decided to write a book which focused in on the hidden journeys of people that had had those similar injuries, those brain injuries. And I met and interviewed more than a dozen people for that book. And their stories were truly inspiring, speaking of massive courage, massive hope, even when hope really wasn't there on the surface a lot of the time. And quite often achieving really great things through massive struggle, massive challenge. And overall, stories of resilience, getting through the day-to-day and often achieving so much more, even when that was so challenging to keep going. And there's so many other stories out there, so many inspiring stories that can inspire us all and we can all learn from in terms of developing that resilience, whether it's day-to-day or whether it's trying to get through a particular project, achieve a particular aim. Resilience is absolutely key in helping drive forward our ideas and impact. But there's one factor that I think is more important than any other, and it links to and helps enable those previous two factors. And that factor is community. I remember well sitting here in Lancaster, just a few hundred metres away from where I'm stood just now, around 6 years ago on a Friday afternoon, where a group of students, staff, and alumni of the university had come together for a couple of hours to discuss a range of different ideas. And those ideas covered a vaster range of topics, everything from cryptocurrencies to catering, book writing to social community groups, and so much more. And those that had come to this session came from a range of different backgrounds, some who had fully established businesses, social enterprises, charities, and more. Some that just wanted to work for a current challenge, wanted to share an idea, get feedback, and some who just wanted to come along and listen. And what brought everyone together in that room, though, was a sense of curiosity and wanting to share that curiosity in a room with like-minded people. And I kept coming along to these sessions for much of the following 4 years. Each week there was the opportunity to learn something new, meet new people, but also follow people's journeys. And on one particular occasion, I was asked to stand in for our regular facilitator. And on that occasion, we had many new people come to the session, and I tried to give space to everyone in the room to share their ideas, but also support others to do the same as well. And I remember a couple of attendees coming to the session, quite nervous, but full of different ideas, just wanting to find some focus. And we spent some time going around the group, sort of offering different techniques and ways that might help them find that focus. And a few weeks later, those attendees returned, visibly more confident and having made significant progress towards achieving their ideas and the impacts they were aiming for. So why am I telling you this story? Well, this felt like a really special environment to be in, an environment that may sound really, really simple, but it's an environment that we have to take time and effort to create. We have to support those environments and also make the time to be part of them. These days, it can be so easy to stay at our desks, focus on our ever-long to-do lists, and not get out there and talk to people about our ideas. But when we do share our ideas with other people, whether it's people we know or whether it's complete strangers we've never met, it can help boost our creativity, our confidence, innovation, and crucially, our impact. And communities can come in lots of different shapes and sizes, whether that be specific interest groups, spaces to share particular ideas. It can also be physical spaces such as co-working hubs and other spaces, and community managers, facilitators, coordinators, they all play really important roles in helping these spaces really thrive. And they often get forgotten, but they play really important roles too in helping us really nurture and create impact in these communities and helping them come together. We have to take time to help that to happen. And a range of different communities have been part of my journey. Voluntary groups, but also social sports clubs. Whether they're related to or unrelated to what we're working on, communities can give those that are part of them massive strength, but also they share powers with people that are part of them. Powers to come as you are, to share your ideas freely, really welcoming spaces, and opportunities to grow, not just your ideas, but as people. And for myself, and I know many others, being part of these communities can be really life-changing. So communities and surrounding ourselves with strong communities are absolutely key in helping drive forward our impact. As I say, it might be that these spaces become highs of productivity, but also they might be there just to provide a distraction from the outside world, be there for when we need them most, and also really to help us and give us that strength to do whatever we do and really achieve and do our thing. And while this may not always be that easy in practice, we can all play a role in helping each other to develop the confidence, to maybe step outside the comfort zone and be part of these communities, to really create those spaces that are welcoming and to make them more inclusive and help involve more people. So, in a world where there are a myriad of different challenges, there's also loads of opportunities. Opportunities to share our ideas, opportunities to build those ideas, and really to transform them into impact. And as we develop along our journeys through embracing the change around us, through developing that resilience over time, and through surrounding ourselves with very strong communities, we can develop some of our strongest and really our best ideas and help others to do the same too. And those ideas, well, those ideas really can make a big impact. Thank you.